Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that really hopes that there's another shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. It's Robert Lamb.
That is my favorite remake. How you doing, Mark?
Good. So they're going to remake it now. They'll start filming in 2021. Who should be Norman Bates?
Wait,
who's Norman Bates?
So it's a shot-for-shot remake of the remake? Because there is like one extra scene in that movie.
Yeah, so yes, it's a shot-for-shot remake of the remake.
Dang. All right. So who
We're
should be
going,
Norman
like,
Bates?
levels here. Yeah, who do you want to see in it?
Sebastian Stan.
Wow.
I don't know. That was like the first. Not too bad, right? I was trying to think who looks like Vince Vaughn kind of, but he doesn't really, but it's just, I don't know.
It's really funny you said that, because as soon as you said it, like, you know what I like about Norman Bates? When he laughs nervously, it's not really acting. It's a great laugh. But when Vince Vaughn laughs in the Psycho remake, he's like,
yeah.
And so it sounds like he's just trying to mimic a laugh. But I think Sebastian Stan he would have to like debulk and wear flannels.
Right. That's true. Yeah. He can't be as muscular. He can't be the Winter Soldier at the motel.
Yeah. He can't have a metal arm.
Yeah.
Maybe
if he's wearing a glove, he's fine.
It's true. Man, that's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what was the only scene that they added was Vince Vaughn masturbating scene. Which, honestly, I will say this. I read the book by Robert Bloch, Psycho, and out of all the books I've ever read,
rewrote it?
I rewrote it. I remade it as a book. I just rewrote it, and I added a second masturbation scene. No, out of all the books I've read, that was probably the closest to the movie was the closest adaptation to that book. Like, you know, like other books, a lot of times the movies deviate like a lot, but that was like almost like verbatim recreation. And actually, I think the masturbation scene was in the book. That's why they brought it back for the remake.
Yeah, they probably couldn't have done that in 60.
No, that was the first time they showed a toilet flushing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And everyone walked out thinking they saw red.
Yeah, yeah.
If you think about that movie with the lingerie, with the death, with this, like the shower scene, that movie was quite controversial in 60.
It really was. I mean, and the toilet. Don't forget the toilet.
Yeah, the toilet flushing.
Can't show the toilet. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And so I have a question. We're going to start. We've been podding together since 2015, recording together since 2015.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so we're going to kind of start a fun series talking about the data articles that I've been writing since 2015, coincidentally. And I gave you a bunch of options, and this is horror remakes, to talk about a horror remake article I wrote in 2019. And I've since looked up and kind of updated. Like, what led you to picking this one first?
So it's funny. I'm not a huge fan of remakes, but I do like horror. And but I'm kind of like picky with my horror. So like when I saw I was just interested in the article in the sense of what horror remakes, because one of my favorite movies of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing. And that's a remake of the Howard Hawks movie, The Thing from Another World or whatever, from the 50s. And I
would love it if that was the title, The Thing from Another World or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever. Somewhere. It's from somewhere.
The Thing from
Is it from another world or from another planet?
Planet.
Or whatever.
Honestly, Sebastian Stan could pull that off.
He would be the Kurt Russell part for sure.
Whoa.
But that's why I was interested. I was like, I wonder if there are any other good like remakes that I'm not thinking of. Another one is The Fly. That was another favorite of mine. So The Fly and The Thing. I was like, let's see what else is up there. And when I went through, I will say when I went through your article, I wasn't surprised by the percentages and the data, because a lot of remakes aren't usually that great.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. When I looked at it, the average score for the 81 movies I looked at is 91 movies I looked at is 44.4%. So that's rotten.
Right.
Like, that's not even close to fresh.
No.
Like, I was actually kind of surprised by this, because I was thinking maybe it would be in the 30s. That's how low
yeah. I thought it was going to be lower too. I thought you were saying that you thought it was going to be higher.
No, because there's so many that drag the average down. So when I saw 44, you know what's funny? When I go into a lot of these data articles, I have no specific goal in mind. I like to collect the data, collect as much as possible, and then I just like to see what happens. So I never have an ulterior motive with it. This one was just like, hey, I'm going to look at horror remakes and see how they do.
Do you pick a set number though? Like you said,
no,
91.
I always go over a set number. Like I did a vampire drinking blood data post, and I was like, I'll do 50, and I ended up with 90.
Okay.
And so it's just, I don't want to leave much on the table. And what like there are remakes that I have. So what I think my basis was, I took remakes with over 15 reviews on the tomato meter.
Okay.
And so because there's a lot of remakes that
have nothing.
Just don't.
Yeah,
exactly. Like no one watches them. They're just like,
straight to video or anything like that too.
What's up?
Straight to video.
Yeah, and 3 people review them.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to stick to like theatrically released ones as well, just so I have, okay, here are theatrically released remakes with at least 15 reviews.
Right.
And that sets a nice guideline. Like when I did the vampire one, they needed to have at least 15 reviews. And that cut out what felt like thousands of them, because there's so many vampire movies. So I didn't want to prove that horror remakes were bad. I didn't want to prove that they're better than expected. I just went into this thinking, this is fun, because for me, I remember in the 2000s when the Ring came out, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, and then Grudge, and I mean, we're talking all the slasher movies, all like Japanese horror movies, they were just being remade in the 2000s. And then I kind of got thinking that like remakes are really nothing new. I mean, you had the Dracula Universal, then you had the Hammer, Dracula Hammer movies, then you have Bram Stoker's. I mean, these movies just keep getting made. There's different book adaptations. Right. There's different. So, I mean, this is really nothing new. But I was mainly influenced by the 2000s of how many stupid remakes I watched.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything new. I do think it's in abundance now, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because I always find it funny when like I go see a movie with a friend or something like that, and people always say like, oh, all they do is remakes now, or back in the day they never did this many remakes, or sometimes I hear a lot of complaints about people saying, oh, movies are so long nowadays, and I'm just like, no, there are remakes. Every David Lean movie from the 60s was 3.5 hours. I mean, like Ben-Hur is a remake and won 11 Academy Awards. I mean, remakes and long movies are nothing new, but I do think remakes are in abundance now, for the fact that just, I don't know, I like you said, maybe I think like one of your part of the article said, like, you know, one movie does well as a remake, and then all of a sudden everybody wants a piece of that.
And I mean, look at The Ring when it came out. I mean, that was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It was just a huge hit. People were watching that. And a year later, you have The Grudge. And then a year later, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I think they kind of hit in vogue again, because the 90s, remember the 90s? We just had Scream. And then we had I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
And then we had The Faculty. And it was just kind of...
Faculty is such a hidden gem.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. I'm not hating on them.
Although it's kind of a loose remake of like The Thing, I think. I mean, it's like similar. Yeah. It's not a remake, but...
I mean, they have a scene that's directly... just with the drugs. The jingle jangle or whatever they're sniffing.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, I love the cast, but we were just getting, you know, like Halloween H2O, which I still love. But there wasn't too many remakes in the 90s, but then they just explode. I did a graph on another article I wrote about just the sheer amount of remakes that came out. And I think it went from like 4 to 17 in the 2000s.
Wow.
Just the amount of the remakes. And so for me, I started appreciating the good ones. It was kind of interesting what happened. As opposed to me going, all remakes suck, I began to like wonder, what is a good horror remake? Like, and I wanted to know, what are they? So, I mean, Fright Night 2011, I think, is an excellent remake that honors the original. It isn't the original, but it still brings enough to, like, it's a companion piece to the 85 Fright Night, or Dawn of the Dead 2004 to Dawn of the Dead 78. Like, those are both good companion piece movies to each other.
Yep.
And so that's like where I base this all on. And also, too, what I like about writing these tomato meter articles, a lot of people are like, this is stupid, but that's everything. Like,
that's how it's every time.
Yeah, but it's what I like about these are that this is just numbers, man. Like, I'm just objectively showing you numbers.
Right. This isn't, you're not being opinionated and picking necessarily what you think is the best. You're just showing through Rotten Tomatoes the scores and how they average out.
You know what's interesting too? Like, the best horror remakes come from originals. The originals that have an 87.6 tomato meter average, and then the rotten ones come from horror movies with a 74% average. So,
Right, so they
more
have to be
often than
better.
not, if you remake a great film, you're going to have a higher score than a good film. But it's quite interesting. I don't know. I love the numbers that came back here. That if you remake a great film, there's odds are your critical score will be higher.
It's like weird because I was going to ask you about that. I put that in my notes for the fact that I was wondering, like, why don't they remake not necessarily bad movies and try to make them better, but just like movies that weren't like that great. Like, I love George Romero. I love him. But The Crazies, the original, like, it's fine. I don't think it's like, maybe it's more of like a cult hit now, but like it wasn't anything that like really grabbed me. But I will say that the remake I thought was actually pretty decent. Like, I thought it was a decent remake of that. I thought like if they did more of that kind of stuff where they took movies that weren't like considered technically classics and try to remake them better, that might be, I don't know, easier to do, but I guess not.
Yeah, because I mean, when you have the great source material, like even if you mess up some of it, you still have great source material.
That's true.
So it's, and I mean, I love what you said about The Crazies, though. I mean, that, you know what's interesting too? I mean, The Crazies came out in 2010. You know what's crazy about that? It came out in 2010, which was kind of when all the other major properties had been released.
Right.
So I don't know. And you know what's interesting about that Crazies, man? They like shot in Iowa. They have Timothy Oliphant, Radha Mitchell, Breck Eisner. I think he shot that movie beautifully.
Yeah.
And maybe you go into it with lower expectations, so then
that's what I
like
did.
it more.
Right. I think that might have helped. But honestly, personally, I think that helped. But also, if you look at the Rotten Tomato score, it has a fresh rating, doesn't it? It's like 70-something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the few with a fresh rating.
Right.
The
So
Crazies.
there's something to it. I mean, obviously, the actors, the scripts, if they change things, the directing, all that's going to play a part. So obviously that, that could make it a better movie too. But I just think taking a movie that maybe wasn't the greatest and trying to make it better, I just thought that might be a little bit easier, but maybe not. I mean, I guess like you say, just taking original source material that is just considered a classic. But a lot of times you go in with high expectations and it's not, they don't always live up to it.
You know when I think a remake fails is when they try to remake The Last House on the Left or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre made a lot of money, but it's not good.
Right.
I mean, they just based the entire marketing on Jessica Biel. But I think horror remakes fail when they try to remake the really gritty ones. And then they just make very homogenized, boring, safe-ish ones because you can't recreate that insanity from the 70s.
Right.
You can't recreate The Last House on the Left.
The shock value's gone. And
so I don't know why you do that movie. I mean, I understand why you do remake Dawn of the Dead and make them fast.
Right.
Those are the ones I definitely understand.
Yeah, I think Last House on the Left is one of those where you'd probably have to change up the scripts like a lot more because you can't do kind of like the same type of thing because it's not that same feel. It's not a shock to people. There's so much torture porn out there already that you're not doing anything different that people haven't done before. And it did feel a little bit safer-ish. God, I barely remember it. I remember a microwave.
Because it's not good. Like that's bad. Like the original, it's burnt in my memory.
Right.
I remember watching that and just feeling this is like a documentary. This isn't good. This isn't safe.
Right.
I feel, I don't know. I feel kind of dirty watching this, and you don't really feel that. I'm not saying it's good to feel dirty watching a movie, but Wes Craven, he didn't really want to make a horror movie, and the way he let the camera linger and the performances felt like you were watching the real thing. And I don't know why you remake that. And they got a good cast too for that remake.
Yeah.
But like that one, of course, really didn't do that well. But then you have, and also too, I think the Japanese horror remake craze was quite smart too, because you go remake The Ring, you remake The Grudge, you remake Pulse, you remake One Missed Call. So it's like a lot of audiences in the United States aren't really watching those movies. So I think that's smart to do as well. Like remake Let the Right One In and Let Me In.
Right.
Like that's a good idea.
Yeah, because a lot of people,
paid off.
General public's not going to watch like all these, foreign films.
Yeah, exactly, which bums me out. Like, you don't want to watch Let the Right One In? Come on.
Oh yeah, I liked both versions.
And then also too, I mean, we kind of talk about making remakes of rotten movies, but
Mhm.
of the 17 rotten movies that had remakes, only 2 of those movies that the remakes of the rotten movies were fresh. So
Oh wow.
you take a rotten property, you remake it, odds are you're going to be rotten according to data.
Right.
So that's an interesting thing, right? You're thinking, why not take a bad movie and make it better? But statistically, it's better to make a great movie, remake a great movie than remake a bad movie.
But even when you remake a great movie, it's
And I'm
hard to
saying
still
great
be
and bad,
great.
sorry, in air quotes. Sorry, Robert. Like when I say great and bad, it's all like air quotes according to tomato meter scores.
Right. But I'm saying like, so the thing is like, I feel like if you remake a movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you remake a movie that has like a 95%, right? It's a classic horror film. You remake it, even to be great as a remake, a lot of them don't reach that same number, right? Like, aren't they lower? Like, they're probably like in the 80s or something like that. Or are there other ones?
Horror remakes that score more than their originals is what you're saying?
Yeah. Is there many of those?
No. Yeah, there's not many at all. I mean, I'm looking through the data right now of all my numbers, and Evil Dead 2 improved over Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2 is a reboot. It's a
when we talk remakes, you this is including reboots, and you said like adaptations, right?
Yeah, and so because I mean, think about it. You make Pet Sematary 8 times.
Yeah,
you're just sort of reinterpreting
Stephen King's work. Yeah.
So I guess that's the way I look at it too. I mean, you have 18 different Romeo and Juliets. Right. They're all sort of the same concept, but different.
Evil Dead 2, though, is an interesting one because it's a reboot remake from the same director, though.
Exactly. And I think that's why it's higher than its predecessor.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Mummy 1959 is higher than the 32 version. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's quite rare to have that. And
that was something I noticed in the data was also that I believe it was like the highest. Yeah, here it is. You put only 5 horror remakes have 90% plus tomato scores, but all of those are 1988's the latest one.
Yeah, we haven't had a great. 2010's Let Me In. Oh yeah, 88. Yeah, that wasn't even close. Yeah, it was just where's my average here? Sorry, I was looking at vampire remakes. Yeah, like Mummy, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Nosferatu, Evil Dead 2, and The Fly.
Right,
those they haven't even come close recently.
Those are all 90%. Over 90% on the tomato score. So I mean, 88, The Fly was the last one. So it's like, they haven't made another one. Do you think that might have to do with how many people are reviewing though too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at the reviews for the movies in the 30s and the 50s, there's like 15, 20, 30. And for the blockbusters, they're get up in the 50s. But then nowadays there can be up to 350 reviews for them around the world. So it's, I mean, the reviews are increasing. And also, too, a lot of these people who are writing these reviews for the older movies mostly love them.
Right.
You rarely see like a hit piece on Dracula 1931.
Right.
Written. It's
going back
like,
and just ripping into Bela Lugosi.
What's up?
I said just somebody going back and just ripping into Lugosi's performance.
Yeah, exactly. The set design was crap.
Yeah.
It's mostly people who love them. So I think that does affect it. But I mean, look at those movies. They're quality. I mean, you had Todd Browning directing. You had some huge names making these movies. Mm-hmm. And they put a lot of care. And I mean, the later Dracula sequels fell off. Frankenstein sequels fell off, except for Bride of Frankenstein.
All right.
But I mean, for me, I just learned to embrace what a good remake is and what people love about them. So I think, like, have you seen Fright Night, the remake?
Yes, I have.
It's really good.
Yeah. I liked it.
Like they switch out, they bring in David Tennant's character as this magician. Mm-hmm. They have the kind of updated vampire. Like I dig it. I think it's a lot of fun. It has good actors in it. Yeah.
I even wrote is it Alexandra Aja or
Alejandro Aja.
Okay. Aja. He who directed the Hills Have Eyes remake. And Piranha 3D, right?
Yeah, I love his movies. He also did Crawl.
That's right,
and recently Oxygen. And that guy, I'm telling you, pound for pound, if I had $10 million and like, Mark, pick a director. Well, probably James Wan first, but second, I would take Alejandro Aja, because that guy can just make, like, Piranha had not a big budget. Hills Have Eyes, man. That movie's brutal.
It is.
Like, he captured what people liked about Wes Anderson. Wes Craven's movie.
And Wes Anderson.
Imagine a Wes Anderson.
Wes Craven film.
Yeah, Wes Anderson remakes The Hills Have Eyes, starring Bill Murray as the lead mutant.
That'd be interesting. They'd have to build like a bunch of miterature sets or whatever, like all those
artistic
views. There'd probably be a lot more like colors too.
It'd be all pastel.
Right. But okay, so would you say Aja, when he directed Hills Have Eyes, that's a similar remake to what we were talking about earlier, which was The Last House on the Left, which is also a Craven original. So like, for some reason, I mean, I like The Hills Have Eyes, and I thought, like, while I don't think it's fresh, I think it's still rotten. I thought it was a better take
kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think it was still a better take than The Last House on the Left. And it didn't play it as safe as I thought they were going to be. I mean, they still did a lot of pretty dark crap in it.
Yeah, I think that's just because I think Aja is so good at making you feel like you're watching a 70s picture again.
Right.
I think he can capture that vibe of those old school thrillers. And I mean, you watch the remakes of Straw Dogs and the remakes of Last House on the Left, which focus so heavily on like rape. It's like, people don't want to watch that now. Like, why are you remaking this? Like, those movies purposely made it so ugly.
Yeah.
Like, now they're like, you're watching it, but in a HD. Like, it's not. I don't think those movies get, people respond well to those movies.
Right.
At all. And so I think if you're gonna do a remake, just like the Omen remake, you just can't play it safe.
No.
I think you got to branch out in your own direction. I mean, and I think that shows by the ones in the 90s.
You have to do something that's slightly different in the sense of like how we opened this podcast with the Psycho remake. That was just shot for shot, and it wasn't good.
No. So I don't understand why that exists.
Yeah, I don't either.
But who has a lot of history of being successfully remade is George Romero. So you think about Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
The Tom Savini directed film. What I love about that was in the remake, the 90 remake, Barbara is kind of a badass. Remember Barbara?
Yeah, she was yeah, she was nothing. She was catatonic most of the time.
In this one, she was like, we can walk around these things. And then she leaves the house and just walks around them and shoots them. And I feel like Walking Dead really took some of the imagery of her just walking through zombies and plastering them with her gun into that. So they updated it. Dawn of the Dead, you had Zack Snyder's bonkers vision. You had James Gunn's script. You had fast zombies. You had them all. You had, I think they were able to update that. And also the Crazies too. Like the Crazies was like really good at, I guess, redoing Romero. But I guess the one neat thing about those movies, none of them have a Freddy or a Jason or a
that's true
Leatherface. They just have zombies. So they're more character driven pieces. So you don't have to focus on making Freddy scary again, Jason scary again.
I will say that one of my issues with horror movies in general, not just remakes, just all horror movies, is I feel like a lot of times, especially with like the torture porn aspect of like certain films, like the Saw franchise and Hostel and stuff, is a lot of times they don't have those character moments. And I understand it's a horror film and we're just here to watch like people die and stuff. But a lot of times I think it's the suspense that drives the horror film. And if you can't root for the character to get away from whoever's the evil entity, then it's really hard to care in that moment if they do live or die. And I know it always comes across as kind of snobbish, but that's why I like a lot of more like the slow burn type of horror films. But because I feel like even with like Halloween, yes, everybody knows Michael Myers and he's classic villain and all that kind of stuff, but people know Laurie Strode too. Like she was the one driving factor behind the first one's success. She was the original Scream Queen. Well, I guess Fay Wray might be in King Kong, but still, just in the sense of that you had somebody to care for, whereas a lot of times I think people lose that especially in like some of the newer movies, which are trying to be more flashy and just get to the kills.
Absolutely. And I don't think so you know what are your thoughts about the Halloween remake? Because Rob Zombie's
which one?
Halloween remake.
Okay.
I watched those again recently for an assignment. And okay, I think I don't want to sound like a fuddy-duddy, but they're just morally reprehensible. I mean, you just have naked women being like slaughtered by Michael Myers at every opportunity Rob Zombie has. But I also like that Rob Zombie had a chance to remake Halloween, and he did a Rob Zombie take on Halloween.
Right.
So while I think they're nasty and you need a shower after watching them, at least he made a Rob Zombie Halloween movie. He didn't make a Halloween remake. He remade it, but it's a Rob Zombie movie. So I kind of respect him.
So from the zombie films I've seen, the Rob Zombie films I've seen, I'm not a huge fan of his style necessarily. A lot of it has to do with like the suspense aspect of it and stuff. Like I never feel like I'm really like invested in his characters. I feel like most of his characters are like he focuses more on the villains, and it's hard. Like I know that certain, you know, everybody knows Leatherface and Freddy and all them and stuff, but a lot of times I still want to have some kind of investment in the main characters that we're supposed to be rooting for, not the villains. And I feel like sometimes he gets kind of sidetracked and falls in love almost with his villains, which is kind of weird.
He gives him monologues about Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, he's got a style, and if you like that style, then good on you. And like for people, you know, if they like it, that's cool. But for me, it wasn't. I was never really a big fan of his Halloween films. But that was another thing I was going to bring up about remakes in general. In the 80s or the 70s and 80s, when Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when all these came out, they had so many sequels after them, right? They just kept pumping them out. Like they have so many sequels. And that became kind of like a cliche thing, like just how many sequels there are and stuff. So maybe the remakes later on, because after the 90s, when a lot of those things started to kind of peter out, I mean, Jason going to space and like, I know like...
Hey, don't mess with Jason X. That movie's beautiful.
I'm just saying, when you go to space, that's kind of the end of your reign. Like there's nowhere else you could really go after that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they took him to the future. There's literally no way to go back.
Exactly. It's just, that's kind of the end that I think that's kind of the moment where people are, or like these producers and people who are writing these stories are like, you know, people like these villains, they like these movies in general, but we've kind of taken it pretty far. Let's just remake it and see if we can start again. And that's why they've remade, you know, all the classic ones.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? Of the ones that really hit, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake was gigantic.
Yeah.
And it spawned a prequel. And then it spawned a sequel. I think it had four movies go to the theaters after that remake.
Can we just say how ridiculous the Texas Chainsaw Massacre timeline is, though? Like those movies are all over the place.
Because it did one.
There's the first one, the original,
the prequel, the beginning.
Oh, you're talking about so you're talking about the remake. Then it was
remake.
The beginning was a success, but the beginning was a prequel to the remake.
Yeah. And then 3D was a sequel, I believe, where the Dario learns that she's the sister of Leatherface.
But that's the sister of the original one, right?
Oh, man.
Wasn't it? I thought that 3D was a sequel to the original. I could be wrong, though. I don't remember it.
So on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, we had the Tanya Raymond, the star of Deep Blue Sea 3 on. I should have asked her about that, whether it was. She probably wouldn't remember.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up now, because now I'm questioning it. I could be wrong, but
you know why I think that worked though is because of the trailer, and it was one of the new ones. Do you remember the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It won a bunch of awards, and I listened to podcasts about the people who made it and the way that they use the sounds from the originals and just cut it. Like they used a cover song, like a moody cover song.
Oh, really?
They showed glimpses of it. They had like the Polaroids, the light flashing, the chainsaw. It was a really excellent trailer. And I remember falling asleep in the theater watching it. But I wonder if that's what gathered everybody, because then the Friday the 13th remake came out. It didn't do well. Nightmare on Elm Street remake came out. It didn't do well. Actually, all the remakes of the slasher movies from the 80s, 70s, and 80s have a 26% average. So you have like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, Prom Night, My Bloody Valentine, Friday the 13th, Sorority Row, Nightmare on Elm Street. They have a 26% average. That's bad. So they haven't been able to crack that code.
What about, now you wrote this article in 2019, right? So was that after the other Halloween, which was a sequel?
Yeah, that's a reboot. That falls in the line of.
Well, it's really like a sequel, isn't it?
But see, this is where I think it gets confusing nowadays. You have Jurassic World, you have Force Awakens, and Halloween. They're essentially the first movie again. There's a Death Star. There's someone like on Force Awakens. She's on a desert planet. She gets off. They blow up a Death Star.
Right.
And planets are blown up. The Death Star blows up a planet. They blow it up.
Don't even get me started on Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, Star Wars, Force Awakens, and then what? Jurassic World.
Yeah.
The animals escape.
See, I think that's their way of doing a sequel, but like making it a reboot, so you can kind of like to try to get people who are new to the series, but also to be like, hey guys who like the originals, check this out too, because it's kind of a sequel, but it's also a reboot. Like it's weird.
I would call it a reboot because, all right. In Halloween, you have Michael escaping. He escapes in the first one, but
she's
this
old.
time that dumb Dr. Sartan releases him. Like Michael has no agency in the 2018 movie. Like he gets hit by a car and driven to Laurie's house. It's a bum Michael Myers.
Right.
And they like when he goes and does that, when he steals the knife and kills the lady in their house and goes out. That's Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And so it's.
Which I want to point out real quick. That's the only issue I have with that 2018 reboot or whatever is the doctor going like kind of crazy. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, and
it felt out of nowhere.
All agency away from Michael.
Yeah,
all agency away, and I don't know. It just, but for some reason, people loved it because it's once again it's familiar, but it's different enough. And I mean, listen, I'm cool with Judy Greer shooting Michael Myers in the face. Like that's cool. And she was in Jurassic World too. Like, you should just put her in every reboot.
Any reboot. She should have been in Force Awakens.
Yeah, exactly. And then just have her, crush it. But I guess that's where the majority of these, I guess that's where remakes work. Like Let Me In worked because it really stuck closely to the original. Yeah. But it also added a couple new scenes for people looking for something different. I think it's and also like the Stepfather remake that was PG-13. Like you just I don't know, you just can't make those movies. I don't think they work.
By the way, I just looked it up. So apparently Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D was a sequel to the original Tobe Hooper classic. And then Leatherface, which came out in how many years ago?
That was a prequel, right?
That was a prequel to the original in 2017 that came out. So that's what I'm saying is there's like so many different timelines and characters. It's all over the place.
And there's so many different timelines with Halloween too. There's Halloween 1, 2, and H2O and Resurrection. And then there's Halloween 1 and 1978 and 2018. And then there's Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Why do they do that? Why do they call like Halloween the 2018 is technically like I thought they presented it as a sequel to the original, right? Because he got locked up and Laurie Strode has all this stuff. But why do they call it Halloween? Like if you're trying to remake Halloween 2, then call it Halloween 2 or call it Halloween and give it a subtitle. It's the same with The Thing.
4 years later.
Right. But the Thing, when the Thing, the Kurt Russell one, that other one that came out with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, that one in 2011, that was a prequel, but they also just called it The Thing. I just don't understand. Like, just give it a subtitle or something. It still has the title in there. No one's going to be confused.
Yeah, it's an odd thing. Well, I guess they didn't want to have a third Halloween 2, so they were just happy doing a third Halloween. Yeah, but
okay.
You know what I don't like about Halloween 2018?
What?
The beginning of the movie features them reinflating a pumpkin. So that not reinflating, but there's a rotten pumpkin, and then they make it whole again. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
That's so pompous.
We're making it better.
Also, I want to say though, I guess the gold standard of remakes are not the Japanese horror films, which have a 33.6% average. It's the remakes of vampire movies.
Yeah, I saw
Bram
that.
Stoker's
That's
Dracula, Fright Night, Dracula 1958, Dracula 1979, Nosferatu the Vampire, Let Me In. It's interesting how vampire movies have stayed really like fresh with their remakes. Why do you think that is?
Do you think that could be? I haven't given a lot of thought to this,
Reboots
but
or readaptations.
well, I think maybe it has to do with the fact that Dracula himself, well, is more of a human character. I'm using human in quotes, that like talks, thinks, can manipulate, rather than just a serial killer stalking someone or zombies or any of that kind of stuff. Like, it's still someone that technically maybe we have like a little more connection to than just a monster.
That's a great point. And you can also, I mean, Dracula movies have also been made more like, sexier, right?
That's
Since
true.
31.
Yeah.
So they've been able to kind of adapt it. Like, they've been able to make it more modern, I guess.
Yeah, but do you think that would raise its run? Because like the ones I'm looking at, the ones you have listed, none of those are like sexy vampires, right? Except for Colin Farrell.
Gary Oldman and Bram Stoker's.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Remember the werewolf scene? Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why, I don't know why I'm throwing that in, but it's just interesting where you can barely remake a 1980 slasher movie, or even you can't really even recreate a John Carpenter or Wes Craven. Did you see the averages for John Carpenter with The Fog?
Oh man,
and just those, it's really hard to remake his films, but then you can do a vampire movie. But I guess that's why I like presenting this data. I just kind of presented the numbers because it's really hard to hypothesize why they're so much more successful.
Right. Trying to figure out what the common denominator is for some of the better ones and some of the worst ones.
But I guess if you take it, I mean, Francis Ford Coppola did Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, it's one of the most sumptuous Oscar-winning for costumes and art direction movies you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Let Me In, Matt Reeves did it, and he's moved on to excellent films.
Right.
Then you have Fright Night. The guy who did that directed I, Tonya. So, I mean, Gillespie directed that. So maybe it's collected good. They've collected good actors.
I mean, I think a lot of it does happen behind the scenes of like, regardless of script and story, like you got to get good director, cinematographer. I mean, any of like the stuff, like actors, if you have a good cast, I mean, that doesn't always matter because Psycho, I thought, had a really good cast. That didn't really pan out well.
Yeah. But then look at Werner Herzog directed Nosferatu the Vampire. Oh. So maybe they aren't cash grabs, and maybe people just love them and then they do them, because that Psycho shot-for-shot remake by Gus Van Sant there's no reason for it to exist.
Yeah, I don't know why it does.
But that's why I love this world of remakes. It's just, I don't know. For me, a good remake, what's a good remake for you? I think a good remake for me is a companion piece to the original, where you could watch them back to back and they're not the same thing.
I do.
And they both complement each other.
I do like that, like, like I said, The Fly and The Thing, I really like those. And if you watch the originals, they're so much different. They're so much different. The overall plot is there, but the scripts, the characters, the story, it's just different. And then same with I really like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I love the original and I love the remake, the first remake, the 78 version.
You know what it could be? And sorry to jump on you, but The Fly was in the 50s. Invasion of the Body Snatchers was made in the 50s. And then they recreated them in 78 and 88 with just much, and The Thing in 82. Yeah. They're not above 90, but they had big gaps between them, 30 years, 40 years, 25 years. So, I mean, if you think about the effects and the blood and The Thing, when you think about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, just how it was able to kind of be like super kind of gritty. And then, Nosferatu the Vampire, bloody and kind of sexy with Herzog. And what else was there? The Fly with the arm snapping and the Cronenberg of it all. So they were able to take these really old properties and make them super fresh again, not make a wildly violent 70s film into a less violent film.
They made it more violent, but they also, I think, established more of like a horror atmosphere to, like, if you watch the originals, maybe this is part of it too, is like if you watch the original The Thing from the 50s, that one, there might be a few scary moments, but like overall it's very like kind of tonally not horrific. Same with The Fly. I mean, The Fly, I guess, is a little bit more, but like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, a lot of those are just like kind of tense sci-fi movies. rather than pure horror and pure body horror that they became in the 80s.
Cronenberg.
So maybe like taking a movie that's not necessarily just like pure horror and making it more horrific also helps.
Oh yeah, it has to, right?
I would think so.
Just make it different. Bring a twist to it. Add a different slant.
Yeah.
Oh.
You wrote this because of the upcoming Child's Play.
Yeah.
One that
and
was
I got the
coming out.
score wrong. I predicted it was going to be 44% and it ended up being 60%. And it's because listen, people have disowned it because Mancini didn't work on it.
Yeah.
Who did all the other Child's Play movies, but it's still 60% because it took Mark Hamill and made him an AI Chucky. So it did something different.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what carried it. It wasn't just a voodoo doll again.
Yeah.
And the doll wasn't as nasty. Like Chucky's nasty, man. Like
I know.
I had to write this video for the Film Theorist that hasn't come out yet, but where it's just I watched all those movies again, and Chucky's just a nasty little shit. So in this one, it was more of an earnest murderer.
Because it was just AI gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't a serial killer in a body.
Right.
Woof.
I do think you have a point about the length of time between the remakes. I mean, I'm sure there's some that could disprove that, and maybe I'm taking away the whole foreign aspect of it. I'm just talking about like length of time for like American film to be remade. But like movies like Cabin Fever, wasn't that movie remade like 8 years after the first one?
And it got a 0% score. Like, how do you get nastier than the original Cabin Fever?
Yeah, that's so weird. 2016.
Why do you do it? Why do you make a PG-13 The Fog?
Yeah, that's weird too.
Flatliners? It's just, I don't know. I got, you know what I think it is? I think you gotta embrace, like you said, going like The Fly, adding in that body horror, adding in more horror, or The Thing, just with the practical effects, and Nosferatu the Vampire, just going that direction. I think that's what you have to do in these movies. Yeah. And also, Fright Night, that got quite mean too. Remember when he takes the neighbor into his dungeon and Anton Yelchin's trapped in there, and she kind of, as she's getting her blood consumed, she looks at him and tells him to be quiet.
Oh yeah.
Like he's like, that movie goes quite nasty, not nasty. Like there's still a good comedy bent to it, but it's much meaner. It has a lot of meaner scenes than the original.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I know we're kind of talking in circles here, but I think we're kind of onto something, man. Like, remember the Ring when it came out? It's not the freshest movie, but that girl, she lit people up, man.
Yeah.
They're frozen in fear faces.
Wasn't that PG-13?
Yeah, because I guess
weird.
it's just bloodless.
Yeah, it is. They're just like dried out or whatever, or wet. I don't remember.
What's crazy though, that movie's PG-13, but then The Conjuring is R.
Yeah,
The Conjuring got an R rating just because of terror.
Really? It didn't have like cursing or anything in it? I don't remember.
No cursing, no nudity. It's very wholesome actually, but it's so scary they gave it an R. But then The Ring, which is drenched in like murder and suicide and frozen faces, gets a PG-13.
What horror movie? Well, actually, I'm going to ask this one first. Do you think they ever remake Jaws? Like actually remake the first one?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't see how they can.
I don't think they'll do it anytime soon, but I think eventually they do.
I mean, I just don't know how you can tell it.
I don't know how you can make it much different, like telling the same type of story and make it different or better or any of that kind of stuff, except for like you can say we're upping the CGI because of the practical effects are dated, maybe. I don't know.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I think people are smart enough to leave that alone. Like, no one's remade Casablanca. Like,
that's true.
No one's remade, you know what I mean? Like, or Annie
The Godfather.
Hall. Like, no one's, like, French Connection.
Yeah.
I don't think some people want to touch it.
But they have remade classics before. Like certain ones.
It's like a slasher, though. Like, it's a formula. Like, Jaws isn't a formula. Like,
I'm trying to think if any Steven Spielberg movie has been remade, right? There has to be.
I mean, he remade War of the Worlds.
He remade it, but nobody remade his.
I just, like, you haven't remade The Godfather.
Yeah.
You just can't I don't think I think there's some movies you don't touch. But if you think about it, right? Friday the 13th, just put Jason murdering co-eds.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy murdering kids who can't sleep. Like it doesn't have the monologues and the moments that made it so good. And you can never recreate what happened on Jaws. Like the great moments came from the time that they had down waiting for the shark to work.
Well, and that's why I think a lot of these remakes don't work in the sense of there's no character moments. And not to sound like a film snob, and I know it's horror, and like a lot of people watch horror just to watch the kills and be excited and scared and all that kind of stuff. But I think to be a really good horror film or really good film in general, you have to have character moments.
Absolutely. Also, too, there doesn't seem to be any need for budgets in these ones. So when you think about Nightmare on Elm Street, it had a $300,000, 1.1, I think, or $1,000 budget. Halloween had a $200,000 budget. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was filmed in horribly adverse, hot, sweltering, miserable things where people were having breakdowns. Like they came from a place of low budget filmmaking that struck a chord in the zeitgeist, and you remake that, and you have zero of the want or need or drive to make anything.
Right.
And I don't think those are able to capture that feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Well, this is good. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
We're both getting shipped to desert islands.
Yep.
They say you can take only 3 horror remakes with you. Which 3 horror remakes do you take?
I mean, I've listed my favorites, but in an effort to kind of spice it up, I'll change a little bit. I got to bring The Thing. The Thing's just one. It's in my top 10. I got to bring that one. Horror movie. I mean, I love The Fly. I guess I've seen these movies so many times though, but I guess I'm going to be on a desert island. If I have something else, I'm just going to watch it a bunch anyways. Probably The Thing, The Fly, and then, you know, as much as I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think I might actually, and I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan, but I think I might do Dawn of the Dead. It's just more of like a fun, newer film that if I get bored of the other ones, I can watch that one.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think I'm going to take Dawn of the Dead, Fright Night, and Piranha 3D.
Oh, nice.
Just because I love The Thing, and I think it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
But if I'm stuck alone on an island and I'm just watching The Thing, like it's going to be quite, and someone else shows up and I don't know who they are.
It's going to
be horrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
So I might as well bring some ones that are fun.
Yeah, those are all pretty fun horror movies.
And they got some pretty good music to them. Just, you know.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead has Richard Cheese in it.
Yeah. Have you seen Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar yet?
No.
Oh, dude, he's in it. He has songs. It's my favorite movie of 2021.
Holy crap. I got to check that out.
Right, well, dude, hey, you want to promote anything before we get out of here? You have any final thoughts about remakes?
Final thoughts. I think, we touched on a lot of it. I think there are too many. I think if you remake a remake, you shouldn't name it the same thing. Or if it's a sequel to an original, don't name it the same title either. I don't know what that's about. And then I think you need to have a little bit more downtime in your movies, more suspense than just pure killing. Because even if you have that in, like, not only does that kill like remakes, like their reviews and everything like that, it also kills sequels. I mean, that's the reason why so many sequels just come out and they with like limiting returns, because nobody's invested in the characters. It's just kind of the same kills over and over again. So fix that, Hollywood. And then I'll plug my stuff. I have a bunch of audio dramas I work on, and because we talked of horror movies all the time, I feel like I should plug Paralyzed, which is my psychological creature feature. It's in season 4 right now, which is going to be wrapping up soon, so you can listen to. There's a ton of episodes, ton of chapters. I got End of All Hope, which is a sci-fi apocalyptic tale about an alien invasion and some people trying to cross the country during the alien invasion. That one is starting up soon with season 5. Then I got a ton of other audio dramas that are comedy and sci-fi and drama and all kinds. But you can go to sevenlamb.com or just search for Seven Lamb Productions wherever you listen to podcasts, and they'll all pull up.
How many millions of listeners have you had, or downloads? How many millions of downloads?
So
have you had?
I just surpassed 2 million downloads, and I'm hoping to hit 3 million by like December, January. I think I can hit it in this year, which will be crazy because then that'll mean I'll pretty much hit 2 million in 1 year. So that'll be awesome.
Robert's the real deal here, folks.
Trying to do
his stuff. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, always.
Well, thank you for joining me, man. I'm glad we got to talk about horror remakes.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun.
This was awesome. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Robert Lamb, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.